Hey Ben, I saw your post over there on the Rails discussion board, preload associations, conditions of a collection, and so forth. And I've taken and I think made what could be some sample data, some appropriate sample data with this whole Postgres script. Let's copy that out. I'll show you the whole process here, making this thing happen, at least I think. We'll find out, I guess. Copy that out of the terminal. First of all, we'll open up some PSQL and create a database. Just call it Ben Documents. And connect over to that given database. And then paste in that whole script. Let's create table this and that. Insert some things. So it's created 4 different tables. And in 3 of the tables, it's inserted 2 rows. And you can take a look at the script for more information about that. There's stuff like Bart and Lisa, who are users, and then a PDF, and then an XLSX for documents. And then some other notes as well, just in case we can see how to not show certain columns that would be a little bit more information than you wanted in a query. Let's say you just want the document type, so there's a demo coming up on that in a little while. And these last couple tables are just for like a tagging sort of a thing, a many-to-many sort of a thing. So like blorgs could be as if it were tags, and then this could be an associative table, back and forth. I think that's about it. Anyway, let's now do a Rails new Ben document demo database of PostgreSQL. And do not bundle quite yet. So inside of here, let's just open up some VS Code. How about the latest this and that? Is that what you want to show me? Is it? No, I don't want to care about that. To be able to point over to a different database, as you're probably aware, then you need to mess with the database YAML. So I think that it was just called Ben Documents, if I remember. That's the name of our database that we just created now. Save that out. Also, to be able to more easily just mess around with stuff without having to build our own models, like type a lot of stuff, then we'll put in a simple gem called Brick. With that now in place, now we can bundle. And we'll do a bin Rails S. When it starts up, then it sees that there are these 4 tables on board, and it says you can now have these classes, these models automatically built out as appropriate for the different tables that we have there. And let's take a look at some of the content. If we just look right now at just documents, okay, there they are. This brick gem is just a tool to be able to easily see data that's inside of a database. It automatically builds out models on the fly. It's like when we asked for this, it said, oh, you don't have a document model. I'll build that out for you now. And it saw that there was some foreign keys and stuff. So like document belongs to users. But as well, then these has many through. It just automatically built this because it saw the table structure. It sees, okay, from document, it belongs to user, has many, and this one has many this way, so that's as if it was a many-to-many over to blorgs. And it just builds that out on the fly. This is an automatic behavior. We don't have any of those has many throughs at this point, but the documents at least relate to one of our users, Bart. So Bart owns both these documents, one in PDF, one in XLSX. If you look at the list of users, then, yep, sure enough, he has 2 documents. And then Lisa doesn't have any documents currently. So it's set up pretty well the same way to which your queries were set up before. So let's get out of this just with a Control-C, and then now we'll do a bin Rails C so we can do kind of some of the stuff that you were up to. If we do, I don't like all this flashy stuff. Instead, I'll do a bin Rails C, no multi-line. How about that? That'll be a lot less nonsense. So then if you do a user, like you were goofing around with the includes, and I agree, man. includes the documents. And then the thing that to do to be able to make it so it left outer joins and so like you get all users is to do then references documents. Now let's just see the query that it builds like that. One query, so you don't have an n+1 problem at all. And as well, we got, okay, at first, just those couple of users back. Doesn't look like they're documents, but they really were, because the joins, it's like it's got all this funky T and a number, R and a number type of thing that has all the different columns, like including esoteric info that we really don't want, let's say. We don't really need the last name, we just want the first name. Let's say, we're wanting to omit a couple of columns in the mix. Okay, well, you can select, and let's say you just ask for only the first name. All right, looks pretty similar. It adds in this compared to the last query, and then the rest of it looks a little bit similar, but it omits both first and last over here. If you see, it's just seeing the user's ID, T0, R0, and then it doesn't do the first and last name at all. It only has the first name that it's put in a raw sort of a fashion there. So intelligently, at least for the root sort of a thing, which is user, then it chooses, oh, I'll have the query to be a little bit less so you don't have to pull down as many columns. But then for the other one, it's pulling down all of the different columns. Let's see if we can even limit it so it's only bringing back just the document type. How about? So in documents, document type, so can it just select that? No, it cannot. This is just about the same exact query as we had before, except it adds in this, but it still gets back all this esoteric info and everything else. So that the way that the select works, at least in Rails 7 and such, is that it will be able to filter on the first of the tables, like in this case the users table, like the root table or whatever, but then all the rest of it, it just comes right through. That's just the nature of Active Record. So that starts to get into some of the stuff that I wanted to show you, really. Going through this mix of stuff that I had put together, here's where you can do includes and references. The secret is the references, to be able to do the left outer joins there. And then you get no n+1 problem. Here's a cool thing we can try. Let's add this in. Filtering just on PDF documents. Bart has just one PDF document and has another XLSX, and Lisa has no documents whatsoever. Can we get back all of the users and just PDF documents, perhaps by adding this into the mix? So going back, not worrying about the filtering, but just our first this user includes documents, references documents, and then we'll add in the where. Now, how many do we get back? Only Bart, because Lisa doesn't have any sort of a document, so the document type there in this query with left outer joins would have said that the document type is null in the database, or nil with whatever, in the Ruby world we think of that as being nil, and in database world it's null. If we do u.first to be able to see the Bart user, and then documents, we do see that it is only the PDF, so it did filter it appropriately that way. It's just that we now omit, we are not listing all the users. So here's a trick for that. Have it to be sure PDFs, also any of them that are null, so put in a nil for Ruby, they would say then also have the null ones. And let's see how many we've gotten back this time. U.length, oh, there's two of those folks, there's two. U.last is Lisa Simpson, cool, and there's no documents for hers, of course, none. But for Bart, there's first, there's Bart there. Yep, he still has the PDF there. All right, let's further get into how we can filter to be able to have the appropriate columns. Like if I just want that first name, we had seen, all right, in our query, we can spruce it up with that same thing that we've done before with like a dot select, only the first, where all this stuff. Let's see if we get back all the other documents columns, or if it then omits them. We're only saying to select first, please. So it's a little bit bigger query this time. It does have only the first name, Bart and Lisa, so there's the two users there. If we do u.first.documents, it's still all columns. We cannot filter it down. There doesn't seem to be any way within Active Record natively to be able to do that thing. So there's a trick that you can do with this gem that I have put on that's just specific to the gem. This brick gem does a fair number of cool things. One of the things it can do in a select, the very first thing inside of the select, if it's exactly brick eager load, then you can specify the exact columns that you want, either by a symbol or a string name. And strings allowed to do dotted notation. So in this case, like we just only want documents.document type, perhaps. Let me copy that to the clipboard and place it in here and remove extra quotes in the mix. So I want the first, and if I don't specify a table name on this, then it just assumes the root table. So in this case, users. So I have users.first and then documents.document type, and that's it. That's all I want coming back. And now let's see on our first user of Bart and the documents that he has. Okay, yes, it did just get document type. It also gets foreign keys, primary keys, so it will put in there, automatically it'll always put that in so that it can refer back. Like now if you do what, u.first.documents, the first one of those, and then go back to the user of that, can it know how to go back? Yes, it can, because it has the user ID appropriately. And will it also be the exact same object in memory, or will it have to go out and load it again with another select statement? No, it doesn't have to load another select. Part of that is because the inverse of. So in Active Record, it's the reason we have inverse of on has many belongs to is so that it knows how to go backwards, and say, all right, from this object, if I've already loaded it, then please just be aware and go back to the original user that I had loaded in the first place. We know that because this exact code right here that we find, that's a part of Bart, that's like an address in memory as to which we've stored that information. It matches exactly with this user that has come back. Further than if I ask for his documents again, and then I ask, well, what's the PDF document? And go back from there, from that user back to the documents, let's say. It's kind of funky. We can go back and forth like that, isn't it? And it's not getting confused because of the inverse of. It's a part of that. So we'll go to the first document. What is that first document? Yeah, sure enough, that exactly matches. That hexadecimal stuff is the same exact place in memory. So it's only loaded once, and we can bounce around and see. We didn't have to do anything more than one select statement to load all that stuff in there. Excuse me, I didn't want to copy that, whatever, silly trackpad. That's just about it, I think, in terms of cool tricks that you can do, and hopefully this helps then. But all this is written up with some stuff here for you. There's all how to create the tables. There's where we're filtering. Step 3 there, filtering on the PDFs, and it didn't work because we didn't get back Lisa. Step 4, we added the nil. Okay, that brought back Lisa. Step 5, well, I want to be able to see just specific columns, but then Active Record by default shows me the whole world. Step 6, utilize the brick gem by simply, well, having the gem there, bundle it in, and it smartens up Active Record, anything from Active Record 4.2, old stuff, all the way up to Active Record 7.1, so not even released yet at this point. So the newest Edge Active Record, the Edge Rails, it'll work with that. So there's using document type. You pick any column you want. Oh yeah, we didn't. You know what? We didn't go through and show how to further join over to like Blorgs or whatever with it. Maybe you want to see that, but anyway, you can try that out. I'll just show. How about a small sample? How about that? I'll do. Get that Rails server back up going and take a peek at that data. Go over to Florgs, which is the associative table between documents and Blorgs. Add a new one of those and say that the Spy Plans document, which is the PDF, I think, is associated with there's two different Blorgs. I've put it in just for kicks. I don't know. Associated with the pizza one. How about? So now from the document, it says, all right, it has one Blorg through that, the PDF one, and if I click then, sure enough, it's the pizza one. We can filter on bar. I put that in because he had like a bar filtering on Baz or some such, and so you can have that kind of fun if you want it later. But for the minute, let's get out of this Rails S for a sec, and then back into the Rails C. We do user. Oh, I forgot to do with the. I'm such a moron sometimes. want this RailC with no multi-line. Yes. User first. It automatically builds the user model on the fly. That's just what Brick does then. I didn't have to make those models. You have those models. But anyway, this is kind of generic stuff. The documents, the first one will be the one with the PDF. So there's that. And then we can further, then we can be able to join all that stuff together as we had been doing by doing an includes of documents blorgs. And similarly, references of at least something. Got to reference at least one of these guys whose documents have out. That will join those bad boys along and have everything to come together. We see the whole enchilada being joined together. That's pretty cool. Say they just use equal to that for whatever reason. u.first.documents. And then first.blorgs. And there it is, all the way joined up through. Didn't have to do an additional select. It's already in RAM. It loaded those in, eager loaded those guys in. And by the way, another final thing, I guess. You can eager load by not having to say references if, well, you just say eager load. So an exact synonym of this would be user eager load documents blorgs. It's the same exact thing. You see there, it's the exact same query, in fact, precisely the same query. And then all of the same sort of stuff comes right back in the same sort of fashion. Hope that's fun. Hope you enjoy it. If you goof around with the Brick, enjoy using that. Or this last example, you could just do that straight up with Active Record straight away. You know, if you're filtering based on columns, that's where the Brick comes in handy. Have fun, and I hope that is an interesting answer or a good one or a fun one or whatever. For I'm going to put the link in here. Maybe make it a. I don't know, how do you put a video in this? Maybe a YouTube video or something? Let's see if I can put that in and reply to you now. Have fun, guys.